A drama-filled weekend for the WNBA. We were talking about this at the end of last hour with what happened on Saturday. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball floor. Plain and simple.
Imagine setting a league record and receiving jeers and alcohol instead of applause. That's exactly what would happen. Happened to Caitlin Clark when she broke Alyssa Thomas's record for the most assists in a single season. But the worst part is that it only strengthened her desire to learn how Clark used hatred as motivation for her dominance in the WNBA.
After the game against Caitlin Clark, but remember the Chicago Sky, the national title winner at LSU, and she talked about where all this attention started with her and Caitlin Clark.
Let's talk about that historic moment on September 14th, 2024, when Clark broke Thomas's record with her 321st assist of the season. However, rather than being celebrated, she was met with a barrage of criticism. Can you imagine that a young talent was reaching such greatness, and some people simply couldn't handle it?
Started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
This was about a rookie appending the entire WNBA, and seasoned players and commentators were frightened by this 22-year-old phenom. How did Clark react to the pressure from the media? Did she fall or rise above it? Keep an eye out because Clark's response to this hardship is going to astound you.
Indiana Fever made the playoffs. They didn't play last night, but thanks to Las Vegas with a win over Chicago and Phoenix with a win over Atlanta, the Indiana Fever have their first playoff berth since 2016. 2 years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. That's almost 10 times. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
You would assume that shattering records would garner universal acclaim, but Caitlin Clark's star power grew along with a chorus of critics. Why did these WNBA analysts and veterans feel so intimidated by a 22-year-old rookie? The league as a whole is being shaken by a mixture of cynicism, jealousy, and fear of change.
Swoops and how she has been a certified Caitlin Clark hater for about a year now. Up until now, she has not been able to say anything nice about Caitlin Clark, nor has she been able to even speak her name. So for this specific game against the Fever, they replaced her with another WNBA legend, Nancy Lieberman.
Let's begin with when discussing Clark's potential in the WNBA. Veteran player Cheryl Swoops wasn't holding back. She voiced doubts about Clark's ability to succeed, implying that her style wouldn't work in the league. She even went so far as to leave Clark's name out of a podcast about other players. It's evident that Clark's influence is having a significant impact.
80s, and I'm a WNBA fan.
It's been good season.
They cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
However, players like Angel Reese have escalated their anger to a whole new level, so it's not only the veterans who are feeling the pressure on the court. Reese's behavior against Clark has been criticized as being unsportsmanlike. She frequently taunts and trash talks during games, as if Clark's presence alone is enough to make her teammates defensive.
Clear that fans are watching women's basketball not because of, quote, one player, but because of her as well.
But I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here.
Off-court critics and analysts are stoking the flames. Molly Caron maintained that other players should receive equal respect, stating that the best players receive the most attention, and at the moment, that is Clark. This statement encapsulates the conflict between Clark's indisputable talent and the league's desire for a more balanced narrative.
From the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrity games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Then there is Skip This, whose remarks about Clark have been written off as being out of date and irrelevant. Some people believe he is just attempting to remain relevant by criticizing Clark's accomplishments, but the truth is that even these attempts to minimize Clark's influence only serve to emphasize how important she has become.
Line is, since Caitlin Clark is the one here now, ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats, as they say. And that was the argument that I was making. It says fair is a place where they judge pigs. It doesn't exist. It's not about fairness. It's about reality. The reality is that the max contract in the WNBA at this particular moment in time is $250,000 to a player. Caitlin Clark is already committed to $28 million in endorsement.
What's actually happening, then, and why do so many well-known women's basketball figures seem intimidated by a rookie's success? It all comes down to a fear of change and the uneasiness that comes with watching the game change in front of their eyes. For players who have spent years establishing themselves in the league, Clark's play, ability to draw crowds, and influence on the game's popularity are unprecedented. This quick change can feel like a threat to their legacy and relevance. Clark is not just good. She's redefining what's possible in women's basketball.
Caitlin Clark was going to get eyeballs whether she played against Angel Reese in LSU or not, because we had not seen anything like this before. Her style of play.
The rigorous examination and critique, some find this advancement exhilarating, but others find it extremely uncomfortable. Clark's struggles aren't limited to her on-court performance. They're a reflection of the larger changes she represents for the WNBA. She's attracting new fans, more media attention, and possibly greater salaries to the league.
Look at the wave that she's created. Look at the profile that it has granted the WNBA. Look at the record ratings they've produced because of her arrival. Once upon a time, they were watching about their audience in Indiana for Indiana Fever games was at about 4,000. Now it's at about 16 to 17,000. The ratings for the WNBA draft was 2.446 million.
It is evident that Clark's participation in the WNBA is altering not only the game, but also the whole women's basketball scene. And the criticism she is receiving is in many respects evidence of the extent of her influence.
Great players, but maybe they didn't capture your imagination. Caitlin Clark has. People watched. Now everybody wants to have an opinion on this. And that's where it clutters, muddies up everything that the women have tried to do. They've been there, you just haven't noticed. Now you're noticing, and now you have an agenda. Now you have an opinion.
As others spoke, Clark concentrated on one thing: dominating on the court. Her reaction to the criticism was a string of performances that broke records, leaving both opponents and supporters to question whether she was the most significant rookie the WNBA had ever seen.
Clearly not the draw and not the type of player that Clark is. She's a very good college player and a good WNBA player. But that incident in college, LSU, Iowa, took that sport and broke it out. And we spent the entire offseason talking about, can we get a rematch of these two? It set up the senior year for Clark. Now, she is not the star player in this play, Reese, but she has a big element in the past year and a half of basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, she played the role of villain.
Clark's response was in the form of astounding numbers and game-altering performances. For example, during her game against the Phoenix Mercury, Clark scored an incredible 32 points and provided 10 assists, demonstrating her capacity to perform well. Under Pressure was a message rather than just another excellent game.
Double-header that opened the season, generated over 1.5 million viewers, which was more than the WNBA had accumulated in more than 2 decades. You have all of this stuff going on. Understand, Caitlin Clark is different. We ain't talking about fairness. We're talking about business.
However, Clark continued to make news when she broke Mo's record for scoring 30 points or more in a row for a moment. Consider that a rookie beat one of the best players in WNBA history. That's the kind of accomplishment that gets you to pay attention.
When Angel Reese comes out and says, she ain't the only one everybody's watching, they're watching me too, they're watching others. A day later, she gets ejected.
But it was personal with her. I don't think it was personal with Caitlin Clark, but it was with Angel Reese. She was clearly bothered by Caitlin Clark and the attention.
And on September 10th, 2024, when the game was on the line against the Las Vegas Aces, Clark made a game-winning shot that sent shockwaves through the league. It wasn't just about the 2 points. It was about demonstrating that she could be clutch in crucial moments. If you thought Clark was all about regular season dominance, think again.
Aren't tuning in to watch Angel Reese play basketball. Angel Reese against Caitlin Clark, then they'll watch that. I mean, I love having a rivalry. I said that yesterday. We don't have enough rivalries.
Perhaps the most astounding statistic of all, though, is that Clark became the WNBA's fastest player in history to reach 1,000 career assists in just 75 games. Take that into consideration that he accomplished this feat in less than 2 complete seasons. Clark's name is already inscribed in the WNBA record books.
Oh, you know, the WNBA has a right. When Chicago and Indiana play, you'll watch. Like, what are the rivalries in the NBA? Where you go, golly, they don't like each other. What is it?
Load management and the fans.
Yeah, that's the rivalry. There's no, the way it used to be with Philly and the Celtics, or Celtics and the Lakers, or the Knicks against the Celtics. I mean, what is your rivalry? There is no. And I do appreciate a good rivalry.
What's really amazing about Clark's reaction to criticism is her unwavering focus. Rather than becoming enmeshed in the drama or allowing the criticism to impact her performance, she focused all of her energy on improving as a player. Every assist, three-pointer, and game-winning shot served as a silent but impactful response to her detractors.
All the accolades that Caitlin Clark is receiving is because she's white, and the jealous players who are attacking her are really the real victims here.
Fans of the league who had previously been doubtful were now paying attention to see what Clark would do next because of her performances, which went beyond simple personal praise. Even some of her most critical detractors couldn't deny the influence she was having on the court.
Drama-filled weekend for the WNBA. We were talking about this at the end of last hour with what happened on Saturday with Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark is going to get eyeballs, going to get clicks.
As the season went on, it became evident that Clark wasn't just living up to the hype. Rather, she was surpassing it. Her unwavering excellence in the face of criticism was establishing new benchmarks in the WNBA, where rookies were expected to compete at the highest level right away rather than just displaying potential.
B word there. And I think Caitlin Clark had said something similar to Kennedy Carter the previous time down the floor. So there's back and forth. Caitlin Clark is frustrated. She has not played well. Didn't play well yesterday, had 3 points. She's clearly exhausted with this schedule that they have and the frustration level. And, these women on these other teams, they don't care. They're not like us as we look at Caitlin Clark like, oh, she's the darling of college basketball.
As Clark's fame grew, an odd change started to occur within the WNBA itself. Could one player's tenacity and achievement truly be changing the league that first rejected her? The answer appears to be a resounding yes. Since Clark's debut, WNBA viewership has skyrocketed, with some games featuring Clark consistently drawing record-breaking audiences and even surpassing certain NBA games in terms of ratings. Clark's impact on the WNBA has been nothing short of revolutionary, bringing unprecedented attention and viewers to the league. This increase in popularity benefits not only Clark, but the league as a whole.
Earn it here. You don't walk in and expect to be great, because we're not going to let you be great. And yes, are they physical? Yes. But I can guarantee you can talk to players, WNBA players, NBA players. Welcome to the league. That's why we talk about what was your welcome to the league moment. I bring it up all the time.
However, it goes beyond watching. A new generation of players is being inspired by Clark's style of play. All around the nation, young girls are picking up basketballs with the hope of becoming the next. It's interesting to note how some of Caitlin Clark's early detractors have changed their minds after seeing her record-breaking performances. One player who once questioned Clark's ability to succeed in the WNBA, Cheryl Swoops, has publicly acknowledged her initial miscalculation, which is evidence of Clark's undeniable influence on the game. This influx of young talent could change the future of women's basketball and possibly raise the overall level of play in the WNBA for years to come.
Reputation's coming in, and we want to see what you got. But it's the coverage that is what drives this. Because normally, if this happened to Diana Taurasi, there's not coverage of that. Not like that. But you go back to when these players, there was no social media. Now, everything is a social media moment here. Everybody's got to have an opinion on this. Race is playing a role in this in some circles on social media. Oh, should she get preferential treatment? She does get.
Clark's journey offers a more comprehensive lesson on how overcoming hardship can result in life-changing achievement. She is a strong example of resilience that goes well beyond the basketball court because of her ability to use criticism as motivation. Rather of allowing the doubters to bring her down, Clark used their doubts as fuel to push herself even further.
Girl is incredible. What she did in college for women's basketball, what she's doing in the WNBA.
She turned the Fever. We're 1-8. They have a winning record now.
But the number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness.
Since Clark has secured significant endorsement deals that were previously unheard of for WNBA rookies, sponsors are paying attention to her success, which has rippled throughout women's sports and sparked discussions about equal pay and media coverage for female athletes. This increased financial investment could result in better resources and opportunities for all players in the league.
And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. And now, when I watch her, two things I like. She's playing much faster.
Yeah.
Much faster. She was playing too slow the first half of the season.
I think she was tired. I think she was banged up from the college season.
They didn't even give her the understanding, like, you girls been worded for the WNBA season. Y'all been working out on the no. She came straight out of college and had to go right to the WNBA like 2 weeks later.
However, arguably the biggest effect of Clark's success has been the way it has changed people's opinions about women's basketball. Those who may have previously disregarded the WNBA are now paying attention and becoming enthralled by Clark's thrilling performances. Long-standing preconceptions about women's sports are being dispelled by this heightened exposure, which also highlights the remarkable skill and athleticism of WNBA players.
Her play the last month, I think she's learning to play much faster because I think she's learning to trust those girls more. Because, when she's in college, she's not passing to a bunch of great players. Now you can see when she plays, she's playing a lot without the ball. She reminds me a lot of Jason Kidd.
As one expert put it, Clark's path is a potent lesson in perseverance and dedication. She has demonstrated that the greatest way to handle criticism is to succeed on the court. The thing about Clark is that she tunes everything out and concentrates on her game, not letting any of the commotion affect her.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlin Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with? Now, I'm not going to put Asia Wilson in there. I'm just saying between these two. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball floor. Plain and simple.
And this strategy has transformed the criticism she receives into motivation for her outstanding performances. The hate has grown so predictable that it's almost funny. Someone tries to bring her down with every record she breaks, but Clark consistently proves them wrong in game after game.
These ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have fucked this thing up any worse. Because we have talked, and talking about Asia. Asia Wilson's the best woman player in the world right now. She's incredible. Connecticut Sun's having a great year. The Minnesota Lynx is having a great year. There's been so much negativity, and a lot of it is just petty jealousness.
How can Clark's experience teach us? How can we use her perspective to address our own difficulties? It's worthwhile to think about, do we let the opinions of those who doubt and criticize us to bring us down? Or do we take them as inspiration to achieve greater heights?